Welcome everyone to the Ordinary Council meeting for July 2023. Pursuant to Council's Code of Meeting Practice Policy, 2 public forum sessions will be held during the Council meeting. 1 public forum session will be held following the acknowledgement of the Broken Hill mining history to hear submissions from the public on matters listed for consideration at this meeting and to also hear submissions on general matters. And the other public forum session will be held prior to confidential matters and will consider submissions from the public on matters considered by Council at this meeting only. All councillors undertook an oath or an affirmation at the beginning of their term of office and declared to undertake the duties of the office of a councillor in the best interest of the people of Broken Hill local government area in the city of Broken Hill, and that they will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in them under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of their abilities and judgment. The council meeting is being live streamed via YouTube and recorded and published on live via council's website. To those present in the meeting today, by participating in this public meeting, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. The Mayor and or the General Manager have the authority to pause the live stream if comments or debate are considered defamatory, otherwise inappropriate for publishing. Participants are advised that they may be subject to legal action if they engage in unlawful behaviour or commentary. We have nil apologies, nil leave of absence. Call on Councillor Boland to deliver the prayer.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Almighty God, we ask you to invoke your blessing upon this council, direct and prosper our deliberations to the advancement and true welfare of the people of the council area, our state and Australia. Amen.
Amen. Councillor Gallagher.
Yeah, we acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we meet today, the land of the Winnicalli people, and pay respect to those elders past, present and emerging.
Thank you. Councillor Jewett.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. We take time to reflect, remember and honour the over 800 miners that lost their lives and those that were crippled or maimed on the line of load. We thank the brave miners and their wives who were part of the 1919 and 1920 strike that lasted over 500 days and delivered a 35-hour working week. Mining is our past and future.
Thank you, Councillor Jewett. The first public forum session of 15 minutes duration will consider submissions from the public regarding matters listed for consideration at this meeting and also on general matters. The public have been advised through notices in the Barrier Truth and on Council's website to register by 4 p.m. today if they wish to address Council during the public forum session. Members of the public who have registered to address Council will be given preference, and then if time permits, anyone else present in the public gallery may address Council. Speakers are allocated 2 minutes to address Council. Council received 1 registered prior to the deadline. No, not here. So move on to any other members of the public like to speak. I know there's a few over there that would like to talk about Fred Jobson. Don, you want to get up? Thank you. No other speakers. I'll move to the minutes for confirmation. Do we have a mover for the minutes? Moved Councillor Chandler, seconded Councillor Turley. Any speakers to the minutes? No. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Disclosures of interest. We have 2 disclosures of interest. One from Councillor Brown on item number 120, report 120/23. Councillor Brown is a member of an organisation which is the subject of the report. Councillor Brown, you'd like to just move your...
Yes.
Yeah,
well, I think that's fairly self-explanatory. I'll
choose to
leave the building.
Yep. Councillor Turley, you'd like to move your disclosure?
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Sorry, I should have put non-pecuniary interest, and it's in relation to report 138/23 and confidential, and it's due to the fact that my husband is a member of the organisation which is subject to the report.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, and I'll leave the building.
No worries. Thank you. We don't need movers, suppose, do we? No. First item on the agenda, Merrill, not first item, but number 10, Merrill minutes supplementary agenda. I'll move that the Merrill minute number /23 dated July 21, 23 be received, that council writes to the Broken Hills federal and state members, along with the Minister for Customer Service and Digital Government, seeking information on the future of the New South Wales Regional Senior Travel Card beyond November 2023. That council advocates for the continuance of the seniors card on a similar program to be implemented to ensure seniors have fair and equitable access to the necessity of travel in regional New South Wales. We have a second.
I'm happy to second that, Mr. Mayor.
Seconded, Councillor Turley. Councillor Gallagher.
Can I just move an addendum
Yep.
that this Merrill minute be brought to the Western Division Conference for discussion and at their next conference in
Yep.
Cobar in August.
Are you happy with that?
Happy with that.
Yep. Councillor Page.
Mr. Mayor, can I just ask a question? When it says seniors travel, quite a few people my age and older do have a seniors card, but does this mean the pensioner card, they're saying calling it a seniors card, are they? Or is it
So what it was an additional
Additional,
card that allowed, if when you applied for it through the New South Wales registry of registry at the RTA, you were able to get a $250 card that is able to be used for all
Seniors.
travel.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Just briefly speak to it. So this is one that I've already been contacted from a number of people, and the government might not know the full importance of this card. Some people use this card to actually leave their home. Without it, they wouldn't use the taxi services because they're too expensive. So this $250 has actually allowed some people that you would almost consider housebound without it to be able to get out. Do we have any other speakers on it, Councillor Turley?
Mr. Mayor, can I thank you for bringing this to the attention of council? And I think that we should all be supportive of this motion, and particularly it concerns me that it's saying that the program will be suspended while they do a review. Do a review, make a decision, and if you determine not to go forward, then you suspend and cancel the program. But I've never heard of a situation where you suspend a program before you make a determination, like you suspend a program while you're doing the review.
Would you like to add an additional item to that, Councillor Turley, that when in that correspondence, it does include that statement that the program should be suspended,
No, it
should not be suspended until the
Yep.
determination's been made.
Yeah, I just find it very concerning. And to me, what I'm concerned about is a decision's been made and by the government by suspending the program while they do a review. So happy to include that, but I hope that all the councillors will vote and support your Merrill minute. Thank you.
Any other speakers?
Mr. Mayor, can I
Yep,
make comment?
Councillor Page,
If you
sure.
read all this, it makes it clear that even the people that do have one now, when the date expires on their card, so does their entitlements.
Yep. Yeah, so it really is an important card, and it's a card that's well used. It includes travel such as taxis, but it also includes if people want to leave the city, virtually any New South Wales funded transport is covered in the card.
Just one other comment, Mr. Mayor, and it's not comical, but in today's state and federal government, they gave me a pension card and took it back off me. And the person in the gallery behind me, they've done the same to him.
People work all their lives and they should be entitled to the same.
You're taking the
benefits
words
as
out of my
everyone
mouth,
else.
Mr. Mayor, and they spend more on foreign aid than they do on the pensioners and people in local government. It's a bloody disgrace on state and federal.
For sure. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We have nil notices of motion, nil rescission motion, nil reports from delegates. We move on to item 14 on the agenda, item number 1. The Works Committee, do we have a mover for item number 1, electric vehicle charging station?
I'll move the recommendation 1, 2 and 3 and add item 4 that we write to the Premier of South Australia and the Minister, thanking them for their prompt response and their positive response as well. And thank
Thank
them as a council and a community.
Thank you, councillor Boyle. We have a seconder for that. Councillor Turley. Councillor Boland, you'd like to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. This is an important thing as we transition to electric vehicles. A lot of people in regional areas, especially Broken Hill, we can't make that change yet. I certainly know I've got 2 petrol cars, and one of them would be electric if I could actually find charging points along the way to make that viable. This goes a long way. It's not for everyone. But for people that rely on and use EVs as their main vehicle, this is a great outcome for them. And as I said, I think the SA Premier and Minister need to be thanked, and they had some nice words about Broken Hill, that when they're considering their road network, they always extend across the border and identify that we just don't share a time zone. We also share quite close connections with SA. So this will be a good response, having that charging station at Yunta and a few other places. We now just need to work on the federal government to get some the power lines and transmission lines where they need to go as well to power our renewable future.
Thank you, councillor Boland. Councillor Turley.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. And I appreciate and I support Councillor Boland's amendment, including that, writing to the Premier and the Minister, because this motion came out from council. I had a local citizen contact me about their concerns, but also visitors asking about EV charging stations. It is a new world emerging for us to continue to attract tourism, for our local community members to be able to continue to travel to Adelaide as they transition to electric vehicles. We need to make sure that the connectivity is continuous. And while we're investing, we're grateful that the South Australian Government has responded to our concerns in our former motion.
Councillor Brown.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just a comment. While this is very, very heartening and hopefully within a very few years from Broken Hill, you'll be able to reach the 3 capitals, so, Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide without, too much stress. We still must be vigilant that all of the roads off the main intercity highways are serviced as well. Now, I suspect that that's going to be a more difficult proposition. I think we do have, we had a motion some years ago to the National General Assembly about those, asking the government to make sure that, the more remote regional areas are equally serviced by EV charging stations. I think we just need to keep that in mind as well. Maybe that's something that can go to the Western Division Conference.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Brown. Any other speakers? No. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 2 is the minutes of the Alma Oval Committee. Do we have a mover for that?
Move that recommendation as written.
Councillor Boland, seconded.
Second that way.
Councillor Gallagher. Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. I used to sit as the chair of this committee, and it was a hard-working committee, and it's they've had to resign, nothing to do with the committee or the Oval. It's just age and illness has caught up with them, and they've worked very, very hard over many, many years, and that Oval is probably the best in Broken Hill. We've got some money about to be spent on it to upgrade the facilities, as was printed on the front page of the paper this morning. So the Oval's in a good way, and these volunteers, as we've noted in item 3, need to be thanked. They've done a lot of hard work over the years, voluntary, and really these volunteers, as listed there, are the ones that really make this city an amazing place to live, and they deserve all the congratulations and good luck in retirement, and hopefully they can sort through some ill health
Thank you, councillor Boland. Any other speakers? No. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 3 is the minutes of the BIU band hall. Do we have a mover for that?
I'll move those minutes.
Councillor Allgate, seconded. Councillor Jewett, councillor Allgate.
No, in the minutes are quite comprehensive and the financial position of the committee is quite sound. It's a very small committee, it's like many of the other committees. But as I mentioned at the committee meeting, there is some concern expressed by the long-term members about the need for a new roof as a result of leakage around the air conditioning ducts. And also there's been a proposal that heating and cooling be installed. And I understand that the general manager is aware of that now that it's been raised, and that's in hand, at least for consideration.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We move on to Health and Building Committee. Item number 1 is the West Darling Arts, which councillor Brown has declared an interest. We have a mover for item number 1. Moved councillor Page, seconded councillor Chandler. Councillor Page, you'd like to speak to that?
No, only to say that we need to be, and we are very proud of them. They've done an outstanding job, and I know you, Mr. Mayor, show them the support they need, and it's very much appreciated.
For sure, councillor Page. Councillor Chandler, you'd like to speak to that?
Yes, the West Darling Arts have covered a good spectrum of the arts, and they've got a bit of everything, and we wanted to keep going in Broken Hill, so we've got to give it as much assistance as possible.
Thank you, councillor Chandler. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We can grab councillor Brown. It's just passed as written, councillor Brown. Item number 2, fee waiver for the footpath dining. Do we have a mover for that?
Mr. Mayor, can I
mate.
just declare an
Yep.
interest in that? My sister, I don't want to find myself in a situation.
No
but
worries.
I'll
Okay.
declare an interest and leave the room.
All right. Yes, move councillor Gallagher.
Yeah, move
seconded-
that way.
Seconded. Councillor Turley, councillor Gallagher.
Just very quickly, it's good to see that Broken Hill City Council is waiving these dining fees for the additional seating. It is the Monday bash and we're expecting a large amount of people in town. It's good to see that we're assisting community in each way to make sure the businesses are successful during that time.
Thank you, councillor Gallagher. Any other speaker?
Oh, no, just, I think councillor Gallagher said it all. I just note that there is the Small Business Commissioner in Broken Hill tomorrow morning as well. So it's a good opportunity that council's supporting small business, and I hope people are taking the opportunity to meet with him tomorrow.
Thank you, councillor Brown. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Councillor Page, come back in.
Couldn't leave him out there, Mayor.
Yeah. That was it. That one. Moved as passed as written, councillor Page. Item number 3 is the minutes of the lead reference group. Councillor Brown, you'd like to move that?
Yes.
Yep, seconded. Councillor Turley, councillor Brown.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have some concerns about not so much the lead reference group itself, although I think it hasn't been for the last few months hasn't been as well attended as it previously was. But the main concern is for the future of the lead program in general. I mean, if you read those minutes and the detailed report isn't attached to the minutes, but the report with the on the lead levels in children, to me is quite worrying. At least the numbers of children being tested are getting back to what they were pre-COVID. But I think for the Aboriginal children, where there's who are really the greatest area of concern, I think those because of I think because of staffing difficulties at Marama, I think have been a bit down. But the fact that the lead levels are still well, too many children have levels above the level of concern is still a concern, and the lack of certainty about ongoing funding for a proper lead program here, not just as a minor part of a statewide program, to me is something that we need to keep pushing with the government so that they're aware that this is not an issue that's been solved at all. It doesn't take much for the situation to start to go backwards. So it is a concern.
Councillor Brown, as you were there when that Premier Cabinet's group come to town, would you like to move a number 2 that we contact the appropriate body to see what position we're at, because they're looking at a whole of New South Wales government approach to the lead issue in Broken
Oh yeah,
Hill?
well, they certainly were, and that's sort of that idea has been around. But I just don't want us to be swallowed up in as a very small part and the level of funding to be decreased. I mean, already the status of the program is decreased since I think since Peter Olsen retired, and it's kind of the management of that has kind of gone out of town, and I'm just concerned that it's not going to have the attention that it needs, and it's going to need to keep needing, because it isn't a problem that's going to be solved. It's never going to be solved once and for all. As long as Broken Hill's here, there will be a problem, but it can be managed, and it can be managed, very effectively, so that children's health isn't compromised. But to do that, you need to have sufficient money put into it on an ongoing basis, just to make sure that happens. I just don't want anyone to drop the ball. So it's yes, I think
2 recommendations, send correspondence to the health minister, the EPA minister.
Yes,
so the ministers we sent to before, and to the appropriate cabinet. The need for continued lead programs in Broken.
Oh yes, it might be worth mentioning, some conclusions from the latest report. So all those reports are easily available, because they were considered by the committee. But I think, yes, just don't let it be forgotten.
Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 4, Friends of the Flora and Fauna Barrier Rangers. Mover for that. Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Turley. Councillor Brown, you'd like to speak to that?
Well, once again, I have to report it's a very active and committed committee, and they do a lot of work. We had 2 hours of hard work last Saturday morning, raking pine chips in the camping area, and that's going really well. And it's obvious from the feedback from the people who are camping there that they really appreciate it, and they're surprised that it's still called a primitive camping area. So it's going well.
Well done. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item,
Mr. Mayor,
yes, Councillor Turley.
sorry, I'll declare a conflict of interest in item 1. I missed that one.
Right.
It's non-pecuniary. I'm the President of Local Government New South Wales, and I'll step outside.
No worries. So we move to policy in general, item number 1. Councillor Turley has moved a non-pecuniary interest. So
I'll move the recommendations 1 to 6 as written.
1 to 6, do you have any delegates?
Yes, well, as the recommendations say, we have to decide the 2 voting delegates and also call on the rest of the
So
council.
who are you moving as the voting delegates?
I'm not sure who's going, but I would suggest the mayor and deputy mayor.
I won't be attending that one. So the deputy mayor, you'll be attending that?
Is councillor Boland going?
Hey,
Is councillor Boland going?
yeah, you're happy to be a voting delegate, councillor Boland?
I can accept that. Thank you. Proud to.
And also, as part of the recommendation is that we call on others that might be, other councillors that might be interested to attend.
Righto. So we've got the 2 voting delegates. Are any other councillors wish to attend? Councillor Chandler? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. We'll ask for councillor Turley to come back in. It was passed as written with the voting delegates being councillor Deputy Mayor Hickey and councillor Boland. Item number 2, councillor attendance at the launch of the Sturt Steps touring route. We have
Move
a
that
move.
recommendation.
Councillor Allgate, move that.
Move the recommendation and call for people that are interested in attending.
Yep. Seconder. Councillor Gallagher. Any councillors interested in attending? This is a Sturt Steps touring route at Milparinka. Councillor Chandler, councillor Turley. They can put a car around. Sorry, councillor Brown, sorry, councillor Brown. Yep, so there'll be a car save for you too. I and councillor Jewett. Yep. That's a really good one. So I appreciate the councillors that are willing to drive up to there because it's a beginning of which could be beneficial to council, our council area when it comes to tourism. So thank all the councillors that will attend that. You would like to go?
No, but Broken Hill City Council used to have 2 reps on the Sturt National Park.
Yeah,
Fran
yeah.
McKinnon was one and Ron Page was the other one.
yeah. I used to be on it as well.
Did you,
one
mate?
stage.
Mr.
Yeah.
Kennedy?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 3 is attendance at the 40th anniversary event of the Borough to Broken Hill Wheelbarrow Push. Do we have a mover for that?
I'll move that way. Recommendation as written.
Councillor Boland, councillor Turley. Councillor Boland, you'd like to speak to that?
It's an amazing event. Good to see it back for its 40th anniversary. I've worked with several people that actually took part in the push, and I know they're trying to make it down to Borough for the weekend. It'll be great if we can get some Broken Hill representation there. And as I mentioned, I think our general manager would be perfect to push some wheelbarrows down that way. Even better if I sit in the top of it and we push each other down to Borough. So I know it's only True Hour to Borough, so we're lucky there, but our general manager's a keen runner. I think he'd be a perfect team captain for Broken Hill.
All right. Do we have any councillors that would like to attend that? Councillor Chandler, councillor Jewett, councillor Allgate. Range for a car and all that there. Councillor Turley.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Mayor, I was just going to say, I actually met up with some of the councillors at the National Congress, and I think it's the long-term vision, and we hopefully it'll come through, that there will eventually be a Borough to Broken Hill Borough Push again. So very happy to support attendance at this, and if we can open up that discussion. I think we all remember the Borough to Broken Hill Borough Push. It was great success in its day. I know that the testing moment will be to Tarawi, and but for all that, very exciting to indeed.
Thank you, councillor Turley. Councillor Boland, do you have any ideas of how to seek interest from the community?
I think our newsletter would be one way to do it. That gets out to a lot of people. Social media, in the local ABC paper, and that kind of stuff, get it out there and see what kind of interest is out there. But I think the first step would be our newsletter. It goes to every letterbox in Broken Hill and it's well read. And I think people will see that and be very excited.
For sure. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 4 is the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee
Move.
meeting.
Move the recommendation.
Councillor Allgate,
1 to
seconded.
3.
Councillor Hickey. Councillor Allgate.
Yes, this is an important committee, without a doubt, Mr. Mayor. It's chaired by an independent person and there are several independent representatives. So it's a good cross-section of the community and others that participate, but it seems to be, from my attendance at the meetings, it seems to be a very worthwhile committee that's looking after the council's exposure to risks and exposure to risks across the whole organisation. Is not just concentrating on any one particular area, it's across the whole operation. And the results so far appear to be really good. And I think, as it mentions in item 3, that those that have been involved, particularly the Audit Committee, the Risk and Improvement Committee, and the General Manager and the staff that have played such a vital role, that they be thanked and congratulated.
Thank you, Councillor Allgate. Councillor Deputy Mayor Hickey first. Councillor Turley. You might have to, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Kennedy. And as Councillor Allgate said, the committee were more than happy, and they actually said Broken Hill is well ahead of most other councils in the state of New South Wales. So that's a big congratulations to our general manager and our finance staff, and
And
the councillors. It's and it's just nice to hear, some good congratulations from those people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turley.
I was curious about in the minutes about the volunteer management audit and wondered if you can give me some insight if that's going to be presented to the volunteer committee, but more importantly, the actions required. Is there a plan forward for that, given that they've identified 2 majors and 1 moderate related issue?
General Manager.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you, yes, it will be presented ultimately to the volunteer committee as well as council in conjunction with our Section 355 Asset Committee review that's currently going through drafts review at this point in time. The higher risks are in relation to our management of volunteers. Volunteers essentially should be treated as staff members in regards to their work health and safety obligations, their induction procedures, and going through those regulations. So we're a little bit lax in that area with our volunteers compared to what the actual requirements are. But it is, as mentioned in the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee, it's a fine line to tread, because you want to make sure that you're not making it too difficult for volunteers to support council, but also making sure that council's interests and liabilities are protected. So we're working through those recommendations at the moment, as well as the draft report for the Section 355 asset committees, and they'll be presented back to council in the next couple of months. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Sorry, can I follow that up?
Yep.
Can we get a copy, probably in front of me somewhere, but it's not in this document, of the audit report for the volunteer management? Can we have that circulated?
On the hub. Yeah, it's on the hub. Yeah. Councillor Deputy Mayor Hickey, you happy? Yeah. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 5, investment report. Councillor Boland.
Move that way.
Seconded.
Second that one.
Councillor Gallagher. Councillor Boland.
Not much. It's another good report, and we've got plenty of the under cash with the higher interest rate, so less of a risk. So it's looking all good. And as normal, our Chief Financial Officer should be congratulated for another great report. Chief Financial Officers don't get a lot of congratulations, so I like to throw one in there every meeting.
Aren't you lucky? Any other speakers? No. All those in favour? Carried unanimously.
Just before we mention item 6, Mayor Kennedy, I have to leave the room. It's non-pecuniary interest. I'm
No
the chair of the
worries.
RDA. It
Yep.
remiss of me, and I apologise to the meeting. I'll leave
No.
the room now.
Okey doke. Item number 6 is welcome packs for essential workers. Do we have a mover for that? Move councillor Turley, seconded councillor Boland. Councillor Turley.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This is a great initiative. Can I congratulate the Y, RDA and council, if council supports this? I think it's a way forward when we have new families move to Broken Hill, that they actually get to have that shared experience. So I'm happy to support this, and it also is a bit of an encouragement for them to maintain their, especially the membership of the Aquatic Centre.
Thank you, councillor Boland. Councillor Jewett. No, you're just on for.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say something, but after councillor Boland.
Councillor
Thank,
Boland.
thank you, Mayor. Mayor Kennedy, I think you called councillor Turley, councillor Brown,
I've been
Boland
doing it.
and
Oh, I've been doing it all night.
As councillor Turley said, this is a great idea, welcoming people to Broken Hill. A lot of times when you move to a new city, it can be pretty daunting, and we're a friendly mob here. And I think getting out, seeing the facilities at the Y and seeing what the city has to offer, and talking to people, I'm sure the RDA helps people out as well as they integrate within our city. So it's great. Hopefully they'll be coming back wanting another 50 because there's so many people moving to town.
Thank you, councillor Boland. Councillor Jewett.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Yeah, I just wanted to, 100% have my support behind this. It's a great initiative. Having community friendships, relationships and ties is really important to get people to stay, not sit in their rooms, get some good exercise, and then again, agree with councillor Turley to maybe keep their membership.
Do right. Councillor Deputy Mayor Hickey.
Yeah, and Mayor Kennedy, I was just talking to councillor Gallagher, and he said tomorrow night's the first of these, and there's 70 odd people registered to come tomorrow night, so which is really great. I think 40 new workers to the city, which is great.
That is, it really is great. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. If we could get councillor Gallagher. Thank you, councillor Gallagher. Passed as written, just with the additional comment of the amount of people attending your event on Friday night. Yeah. Item number 7, proposal to rename the South Community Centre to the Fred Jobson South Community Centre. We
Move
have,
the recommendations.
we have members in the crowd about to cheer. Councillor Allgate.
Yeah, I'll move the recommendations as written, 1 to 5.
Seconder, councillor Page. So it is that the council notes that as per minute number 47-217, proposal to rename the South Community Centre to the Fred Jobson South Community Centre was placed on public exhibition, during which time council received one anonymous invalid submission. The council approves the renaming of the South Community Centre to the Fred Jobson South Community Centre, and that the Patton Village Broken Hill Association be advised of the success of their proposal. So there you go. Any speakers?
I'll speak on it.
Councillor Allgate.
And on behalf of Mr. Murdy, who has raised this with me several times in the past, it has been a long time coming, and I'm more than happy to move the motion because Fred Jobson, for people my age at least, all people in my age bracket would remember Fred very, very well. He was not only an icon in the South community, but he was a well-known personality right through the community back in the 50s and 60s, and a multi-talented person. as it says in the application or one of the previous correspondences, he was a he was a musician, an artist, an actor and a singer, played musical instruments. What he didn't do wasn't worthwhile knowing. And I've had the fortune, I started on the Zinc Corporation in 1962 and worked in an area where Fred was often seen and heard of, more often than not heard of, because he was quite a raucous individual. And I think, really speaking, that it's been a long time coming, but it's a worthwhile exercise. And I make mention of the fact that Fred Jobson was the designer of the crest that is currently displayed on Mr. Moody's jacket. And I personally have said numerous times since this new council has been formed that that should be the crest that the council adopts for all of its units, for all of its services, not just some of these, a different one for the library, a different one for the council, and a different one for tourist association and so on. We should have one crest, and I think it should be the Fred Jobson crest. But I'm really happy about what's happened, and I'm sure Mr. Moody and a lot of the elderly people from the South community will be happy as well.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. Councillor Page.
Yes, after speaking after councillor Allgate for a second time from last meeting, he hasn't left anything for me to say. So, but other than Don Moody, we have to thank Don because he never gave up on this issue. He's always worked with the family, making sure that he has their support on him pushing this forward. So thank you, Don, and it's nice to see one of the family here as well.
So just out of interest, it's almost getting to the point where council is able to go and look into the crest. So at some stage, next few months, we may actually be able to at least put that out there as one of the options for council. And thank you, Don.
Good news, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 8 is the temporary suspension of the portion of the Central Business District.
Move that way.
Moved, councillor Gallagher, seconded. Councillor Brown. Speak to that.
Oh, I think it's good. Once again, good to see the City of Brackennell City Council suspending some areas for the enjoyment of people coming to town, but we must really ensure that the other business houses, that restrictions of that area must be looked after as well. So it's a two-way street.
Yeah, for sure. I have spoken to a few people in that area and they are concerned about people going down in front of their businesses. So if perhaps council could also inform the police to keep an eye on,
it's just
even though it's been suspended in that area, we certainly don't want people that are intoxicated doing the wrong thing in front of those businesses.
Yeah, just unruly behaviour, litter and so forth. We just must look after our businesses as well, which look after us 365 days a year.
Thank you. Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously with the note to make sure that it is followed up. Item number 9, nomination for the appointment of community representatives to the Section 355 community committees. We have a mover for that. Move Deputy Mayor Hickey, seconded. Councillor Chandler, Deputy Mayor Hickey.
Always great to see some people putting their hand up to join these committees. They're most important and we can never get enough people. And so very worthy thanks to both those people.
For sure. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 10 is the minutes of the Ageing World Advisory Committee. We have a move for that. Councillor Allgate, seconded. Councillor Page. Councillor Allgate.
Move the recommendations 1 to 3.
Yep. Seconded. Councillor Page. Yep. Councillor Allgate, you wish to speak to that?
Only to say that this is a committee that's in its infancy. I think it's only had it's 3 meetings old, if I remember rightly. General Manager might correct me, but in the short time that I've been involved with it, and the chairperson is Councillor Gallagher, and I think he could support what I'm saying, that there's a lot of progress to be made. Some has already been made. The big problem is that the committee needs feedback from the elderly. Young people don't know what the inadequacies are for elderly people. We now have a representative of what used to be the aged persons group that used to meet at the down at the hall next to the Civic Centre. I understand from her contribution at the last meeting that there's only about 14 members, but they're not regular attendees. At some meetings, there's only 1 or 2. The thing is that if we get the feedback from the community elderly, we know which way we should be going. But we already know that in terms of service providers, there are so many service providers duplicating services. It's just not funny. There needs to be a rationalisation undertaken there, but that's well out of our realm. But nevertheless, we recognise that, and those that are involved should be fronting up to do something about that. Council can play its role in trying to raise funds for increased ramps in appropriate areas, particularly in the CBD. Whilst there are ramps at most of the corners in the CBD, there are need for ramps into some buildings, and also need for ramps at certain places where the disabled parking is placed. But all in all, it's a good committee, and I think it will make big inroads into the problems in the future.
Thank you, Councillor Allgate. Councillor Page.
Yes, we have a very good roll up there of all the service providers, so we know exactly what's being provided. And we have a good understanding what could and should be introduced into the future. And it comes, I've been for the last 2 years working on the housing for domestic violence, and every person I speak to in town, they say the lack of housing in this town is one of our biggest downfalls. So let's rally together and push hard to get some accommodation built in this town, because it's affecting not only the elderly, all age groups in regard to the NDIS. You can go on and on and on. It's a huge issue. So, and all these issues come up at the meeting, and Councillor Allgate, it's good to see him there, and the chairman, Councillor Gallagher. So yes, it is progressing, and progressing well.
Excellent. I have a feeling that committee will be invaluable as it becomes more organised and more known to the community generally. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Further reports, item number 1, provision of disabled parking spaces adjacent to polling places. We move for that. Councillor Allgate, seconded. Councillor Brown. Councillor Allgate.
Move the recommendation as written, and it's all in the report. The council has been in touch with the relevant minister and the Electoral Commission. I think the council is keen to do whatever it can to assist in this particular issue, but as it was mentioned in the correspondences, the Electoral Commission should be at least considering electoral venues which are already serviced by disabled parking. But in the absence of that, well, the council will do whatever it can. But we're sort of behind it in the spirit of things. But we'll just see how it unravels in the next few months before the election.
Thank you, Councillor Allgate. Councillor Brown.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I was a bit disappointed with the response from the minister because of with the commissioner, because it's a complete cop out as far as I'm concerned, to say that they, you know, that they'll do what they can, but they can't guarantee it. And if council wants to pay a premium, you know, to have a high class venue with that attached, and to, you know, suggest that maybe we should think about supplying those temporary signs, and that's something that councils had to do for a number of elections in the past without any assistance from the Electoral Commission. I was very disappointed, to say the least.
Councillor Turley.
Mr Mayor, I actually share Councillor Brown's concern. I thought it was an offensive letter written by the Electoral Commissioner when in particular it said, finally, if council were determined that it's willing to pay a premium to help secure a venue, surely a simple solution would be, if there's no disabled parking, which they should know, they make the contract, they write to council immediately and asking for a non-permanent disabled parking. But to be so rude and disrespectful when we're trying to consider those with disabilities in our community, you know, I just found it offensive and absolutely a disgrace on their behalf.
Councillor Allgate.
I agree with what's been said. The minister and the Electoral Commission's correspondences were really just cop-outs. But the responsibility doesn't rest with the council alone. It's got to be a combined effort.
Thank you, Councillor Allgate. All those in favour? Carried. Item number 2, the new requirements for aged care facilities. We have a mover for that.
Move the
Councillor Allgate, Councillor Boland,
Move the recommendation as written. Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Seconder, Councillor Gallagher, Councillor Boland.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. This is quite concerning, to say none the least. It's really needs to be resolved. The government's gone in gung-ho with this, and really, I mean, if they get this wrong, our elderly people will be leaving Broken Hill again, and we just can't be in a position like that again. Putting Broken Hill in with areas that classified 2 hours from a major centre is ridiculous. I did some research. Mount Isa, which is a very similar, probably more remote than Broken Hill, but we're still remote. They're in band 6 and 7. Kalgoorlie is in the same band as Broken Hill. So it's ridiculous. If it's not resolved, as I said, people will leave. We will lose our elderly people out of this town again. And they basically said we've used data-based geographical classification systems. So they've used some stinking computer algorithm to decide what's right for Broken Hill. As I mentioned before, get the other side of the Blue Mountains, get out of Canberra, get to Broken Hill, and you can see how remote we are. And maybe they can reconsider the modified Monash model classification that we're in, because quite frankly, leaving it to a computer is a cop-out from the federal government, and they really need to look at this. You know, I just don't buy it for 1 minute that they can just look at a computer printout and decide where Broken Hill fits without seeing the exact issues we have on the ground in this centre.
Thank you, Councillor Boland. Any other comments? Councillor Page.
Yes, as we know, politicians are elected, and when they're elected, they're allocated a ministry. And the sad part is a lot of those people have no idea how things operate, whether it's aged care, whether it's water issue, you can go on and on and on. They stand for Parliament and then they get the job, and then they don't have a history of knowing what to do. So they have their advisors tell them what to do, how to do it. And the sad part is some of the ministers couldn't care less either.
Too true. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 3 is Local Traffic Committee. Councillor Brown, you'd like to move that? Seconded. Councillor Allgate, Councillor Brown.
Yes, Mr Mayor, it's fairly self-explanatory, but in case people haven't read it. the traffic committee recommended that there be a bit of a change to parking on the side of Bromide Street near the corner where the Geo Centre is, where the Mining and Minerals Museum, to assist with visitor parking there. I think that with the changes over the last few years with the health centre and so on and Thrive, I think there's the all-day parking sort of been pushed down that part of town. So that only that side will have timed parking to give some visitor parking there. The other major issue, I suppose, is related to the extension of the one-way lane that goes to the Rainbow Preschool, which was causing some concern with traffic coming both ways. So there's been a successful trial of partially making that lane one way, and the intention is to extend that so it'll be one way all the way to Bonanza Street.
Thank you, councillor Brown. Councillor
That's the
Holgate.
main thing.
I just could ask some questions or just put some comments on notice for the traffic committee.
Yeah.
I'm not the only councillor that's aware of some people have problems with a couple of intersections in town, and maybe the traffic committee could have a look at the intersections involved. And that's the courtesy corner, Argent Bag at Menindee Road. It's been put to me that I'm no traffic expert, but it's been put to me that a roundabout there might be a good idea and worth consideration. That's the first one. The second one is there's a lot of people complained about the T-junction that leads into from Crystal into Gossan. That T-junction there, that there needs to be some means of controlling the traffic there. It probably means, if it is considered necessary, it probably means traffic lights. But perhaps the traffic committee could look at those two things. I know that two people have raised both of those with me, and I know that other councillors, I won't name them, but I know there's other councillors that have had the same question raised with them. And I think both have some merit, and I'm certainly, I think the T-junction up near Coles, that certainly is something that needs to be considered quite seriously.
Thank you, councillor Holgate. All those councillors in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 4, the minutes of the Heritage Committee. We have a mover for that.
Could I move? Oh, sorry. Did somebody move?
Councillor Turley, you're moving the
Yep.
recommendation?
I move the recommendation.
The recommendation actually asks that council consider investing in a preliminary concept plan for both be developed by council's heritage advisor.
An amendment,
We need a seconder,
second,
and plus councillor Brown seconded it.
move an amendment that the matter be deferred to the next council meeting. And in the meantime, in the interim period, that the Heritage Committee give the council or meet with the council to give us a briefing on just what is expected to happen down at that Crystal Lane, Crystal Street railway precinct. I think
Have a seconder, councillor Holgate. Councillor Boland. Councillor Holgate, continue.
I just think it's worthwhile to get the views, specific views of the Heritage Committee before the council makes a decision to spend the $5,000. And we need to know what the $5,000 once it's spent, once it's expended, what that's going to lead to in the long term, what the product at the end of the day is going to be, and how much the overall is going to cost. And the thing is, there's very little, to my way of thinking, I had a look at it today and I've been past it plenty of times. There's very little, what's there. It's going to take a fair bit of work to get it up to any sort of showroom condition.
Thank you, councillor Allgate. So you're moving that 1 and 2 that be received and that the minutes be accepted, but number 3, that there be a briefing on the proposal for the $5,000.
Mr Mayor, can I suggest instead of the Heritage Committee, we actually invite Liz Vines, who's our Heritage Advisor, to provide the update?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, you're happy to
I'm
withdraw your
happy to
motion?
include that into the motion if you like.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so you'd have to remove number 3 and 4 because that's
Yeah.
about setting the amount and you're happy to. So councillor, we'll move the councillor Turley accepts the briefing as opposed to paying for
And
the
can
5,000.
we change it to the Heritage Advisor, not the Heritage Committee?
Heritage Advisor.
Yep.
You got no problem with that, councillor?
No, that's fine.
Councillor Brown, you happy with that? Any other speakers? All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 5. Minutes of the Youth Advisory Committee. You have a mover for that? Councillor Page, seconded. Councillor Jewett. Councillor Page, you'd like to speak to that?
Yes, that's a big issue. The young people coming on today think different to us older people, and we need to listen to those people and just see what they'd like to have. We've had lots of, as you know, we've had lots of drop-in centres and lots of things for the youth. What do we have through you, Mr. Mayor, to the General Manager? Because I'm very concerned about the young people. They say they haven't got things to do. I'm not up to speed with what is available, to tell you the truth. So as a council, we need to be conscious of the young ones, and if you keep them busy and find out what they'd like to do, might have a help with their well-being and their future.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you, yes, and previously when the YMCA operated, the Youth Council, I think the terminology was at that point in time, that was a good reference group to make sure that we had that consultation with the youth of Broken Hill in relation to some of our larger projects, which they were fundamental in the skate park design and a lot of our playgrounds. I believe that the current YMCA management are looking to reintroduce a similar organisation with a different banner, which will be inclusive of this group, obviously with the advisory committee moving forward. So it'll be a great opportunity to have that engagement there. But as council is aware, we're not directly involved in any youth activities as such. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Jewett.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that. I agree. I think this is a great committee. I mean, all of our 355 committees are important in their own right, but this one is especially important for our youth, to get them on the right path, provide any resources to help them do so. It's a strong committee. I was, time permitted, can't always make these meetings, but fully supportive of this committee. It's quite strong and I can see it going really well.
Councillor Page.
Can I just ask a question? What are the average age with these people we're talking to, the youth? Yeah, what, yeah, on the committee or the people you speak to? Because the younger generation, they're pretty well looked after with sport.
I think the focus is from up until about 24. Is it 24 or
Yeah.
29? Daria, if you could help me out there, Councillor Turley.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's 29. 4?
Yeah. Committee itself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
Thank you. Look, the point of this committee is to actually start providing things like just from the perspective of being mayor, for example, the skate park, which is really good. One of the things that was brought up there was they wanted a foam pit. Needs to be explained that the foam pits are quite expensive, but they're the sorts of things that come up, and they're the sorts of things that at some stage can be developed. Don't forget, an idea isn't necessarily a good idea. It's just an idea, and what happens is it gets thrashed out, and hopefully this committee goes a long way to address some of the things with Headspace. They work with different types of things with people's mental health and that sort of thing. So it's just, as Councillor Turley said, making sure that all the youth groups are in the one area, so you cater to all, but you've also have sporting organisations that are struggling for numbers. So you want to make sure that all sporting, certainly don't want to lose any sports in town, any of the main sports. Once they're lost, they probably won't start back up. So they're the sorts of things that the committee will eventually do, and hopefully these organisations that are involved with kids can all get together and you come up with plans. But from council's perspective is to make sure that we are aware of what needs to be delivered as far as infrastructure goes, to make sure that it caters to all. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Item number 6, Councillor Gallagher, the action list.
Yes, I'll move that way.
Seconded. Councillor Hickey. Bit of yellow, I noticed.
Too much yellow as far as I'm liking, but there's a bit of green in there, but when it's done, it'll go green.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Questions taken on notice from the previous council meeting. We have a mover for that.
Move that way.
Move Councillor Gallagher, seconded. Councillor Chandler. Councillor Gallagher, you speak to that? No. There was some good responses in there. It's good to always ask those questions and get a response. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Questions from the public forum taken on notice. We have a mover for that.
Is there questions on notice for next meeting, or
Hey.
is there questions from this meeting?
Oh, that's the next
Okay.
next thing. We have a mover for that. Move Councillor Gallagher, seconded Councillor Brown. There was some answers there. One was for the soccer, the other was for the native title, which has been extinguished in the common. All that where we were talking about going across the common. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Question 17. Questions for the next meeting. Councillor Turley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just had one question. Is that could we investigate the sudden pay rise, or not, rent rises at Shorty O'Neill Village with the tenancy union? I've had locals contact me and concern that although they expect a rent rise, they've had 2 rent rises in the recent few months of $50 each. And so if council could make some inquiries with the tenancy union and report back to council, that would be good.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Allgate? Yep. Microphone, Councillor Allgate.
And it's a comment to start with. I've been approached by a couple of people who are residents of what used to be called the Shorty O'Neill Village. And I've been advised that when they went into the village, it was $180 a week. After not too long after they went in, it moved to $250 a week.
Yeah.
And I understand from them that they now think they are now put on notice by all accounts that it will move from $250 a week to $300 a week.
Yeah.
It's a private property, and I know the council has no control over that. I'd just like to comment in general terms. I've never been comfortable with the fact that the council disposed of Shorty O'Neill Village. Never, ever. And I can recall Councillor Kennedy and I put up argument after argument about why it should be saved. our views fell on deaf ears. That was a property that was bringing in $1.4 billion in new dollars to the Broken Hill community in bed licence fees. I know there were problems. I know there were lots of reasons why it was put forward that we could no longer run it. But I've never been given a clear and specific answer why we had to sell it. So I was just wondering if we could get a brief.
So you'd like a report done more or
I'd
less?
like
Councillor Holgate?
a report or a briefing that tells us exactly why it was sold in the first place.
Well, that would include also the cost where it was sold for about 1.2
Well,
million, and now we're receiving about 700,000. They're receiving 700,000 in income, and why a council would flog off something that was probably worth $5 or $6 million for 1.2 million. You're talking about that sort of report?
That was that was part of what I was going to finish off. It was sold for a song. It was sold for an absolutely ridiculous price. I understand something like three or four times less than the current valuation at the time. And as you know, as the mayor now, and prior to that, a supporter of retaining the village, I struggle with this decision ever since it began, and I'd like a clear definition of why it happened. Simple, why? Why did it close? Why couldn't we run it?
Why can we run it as it's been run
As
now
it's
by
been run
Eureka?
now.
And people wouldn't be paying $300 a week. They'd be paying $180 a week because we'd run it at a break even as opposed to trying to make a profit.
You
So
would-
it's fine for now for some councillors in this room to suggest that be indignant that it's gone up, but it should never have been sold, and it'd be in the hands of council to make those decisions.
You will remember that we raised the fact that it could be turned into independent living. And at that time, the reason why it couldn't be turned into independent living by the then council was that, we'd have to put new meters, we'd have to individually meter water and electricity on each unit, which is not a fact, never was a fact, isn't a fact now. But somebody tell me, why did we close it, and why are the people in this situation now?
Yeah,
With
so
this
rather than
ever-increasing,
a question, we really need a briefing or a report that explains
report,
that. And you'd be happy with that in the next couple of months,
Yes,
councillor Allgate?
yeah,
No,
at management's leisure.
councillor Page?
Yes, Mr Mayor, the Shorty O'Neill Village is very financially viable at the moment, and yes, Broken Hill City Council could have and should have been still operating it. At the time when they said they intend to kick all those people out on the street, I went to the mayor's office with other local people, and I asked him the question, to reverse it. And you know what his answer was? He wanted nothing to do with aged care. How bloody pathetic.
And now we're seeing the result of poor decisions from the two previous councils. And we as a community are paying for it. And we as this council are now trying to fix it up. Councillor Hickey,
Yeah,
Deputy Mayor?
through you, Mr Mayor. I did some sums after they told me they had to rise to $300. It works out to 67% return to what they paid for $1,050,000, getting 67% on their investment, which is absolute crap for mine. It should never have been sold. I don't know whether I can say this, but I did the valuation on the property, which I don't know whether who in the council saw it, but I put 2.8 million on it and it sold for $1,050,000. So you tell me how that happens.
I don't know, but it all needs to come out. Councillor Page?
I agree with the Deputy Mayor. If you go up and do a site inspection, just that hall up there alone is worth possibly more than that. It was bloody criminal and dishonest.
Thank you. Any other questions for the next councillor Boland?
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. I just had a couple of users of the Memorial Oval come and talk to me today that the change room facilities at the Oval are subpar, not fit for purpose. The male showers are all open. Apparently that's against regulations these days. They have to be individual cubicles. I'm not sure of the the females change facilities at the Memorial Oval, but I said I'd take it to questions on notice and see if we can put the Memorial Oval change rooms forward in the next round of funding from the government and see how we can go getting some upgraded facilities for the Oval users.
Thank you, councillor Boland. That's all right. Yep, that'd be fine. Councillor Boland. Any other questions? Thank you for those questions. The second public forum session of 15 minutes will consider submissions from the public regarding matters that were considered by council at this meeting only. Speakers are allocated 2 minutes each. Any speakers? No? Okay, thank you. We now call for a motion to go into closed session. Do we have a move for that? Moved councillor Page, seconded councillor Gallagher. All those in favour? Carried. Just for the public, there's quite a few matters on it, so it must be minutes. Thank you, everyone. I'll just have the general manager read out the resolutions that were passed in the closed session of council.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Tender report number 1/23 dated July 5, 2023. Tender 23/4, request for tender for Oxide Street from Lane Street to Chapel Street Road reconstruction. Council resolved 1, that Broken Hill City Council tender report number 1/23 dated July 5, 2023 be received. 2, that the Broken Hill City Council award tender 23/4 to GTE Proprietary Limited for the road reconstruction of Oxide Street from Lane Street to Chapel Street for the total price of $770,188.12, including GST. Broken Hill City Council report number 137/23 dated June 26, 2023, family daycare proposal. Council resolved 1, that Broken Hill City Council report number 137/23 dated June 26, 2023 be received. 2, that council note that following an internal assessment, council does not have the resourcing capacity, a background in this service delivery, or wide regulatory or compliance knowledge of this sector to be able to successfully take up service delivery, and therefore would be subject to regulatory, financial, and reputational compliance risk. 3, that COBAR is encouraged to submit its proposal to already accredited and approved agencies under federal and state regulations with services already operating in the childcare industry. 4, that Broken Hill City Council supports and assists COBAR Shire Council in finding an alternate service provider if required. And 5, that Broken Hill City Council continues to advocate for childcare services in Broken Hill and to increase childcare ratios to make services financially viable. Broken Hill City Council report number 138/23 dated July 4th, 2023. Review of council's ongoing financial support to a local community organisation through council's community assistance grants program. Resolved 1, that Broken Hill City Council report number 138/23 dated July 4, 2023 be received. 2, that council reviews Gulf Broken Hill Incorporated financial statements from the application to round 1, 2023-2024 of the Community Assistance Grants Program. That council continues to provide ongoing annual financial support to Gulf Broken Hill Incorporated of $6,000 to offset their land rates through the quarantining of community assistance grant funding each year as per minute number 46356. Report number 4, Broken Hill City Council report number 139/23 dated July 11, 2023. Write off of bad debt, Broken Hill City Council versus CBC Project Management Group and ANORS. Council resolved 1, that Broken Hill City Council report number 139/23 dated July 11, 2023 be received. 2, the council approves the write-off of bad debts of $822,319.67 in legal judgments recoverable and $1,025,332.79 in legal costs recoverable in relation to Broken Hill City Council versus CBC Project Management Group and NORS case. 3, that the report be made public subject to a redaction of any confidential items, and that the minutes of extraordinary confidential matters of the council meeting held on Monday, November 5, 2018 at 6 p.m. be made public. And Broken Hill City Council Report number 146/23. Council resolved that Broken Hill City Council Report number 146/23 dated July 18, 2023 be deferred to the following council meeting. And councillor questions taken on notice at the July Policy and General Committee meeting during closed session. Council resolved 1, that questions on notice 7/23 dated July 20, 2023 be received. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, General Manager. That brings the council meeting to an end, and thank you everyone for their attention.